Hey there, and welcome to the Explainer. So, I want you to imagine something for a second. You log into your bank account one random Tuesday, and for the very first time in your life, you see 5 digits staring right back at you. 10 grand. Now, there are no sudden fireworks going off, right? No crazy dramatic lifestyle changes, and honestly, nobody around you even notices. But internally, wow, something profound shifts. You feel calmer. You feel way more in control. That gnawing, everyday anxiety about money just starts to quiet down. Today, we're unpacking the silent but absolutely life-changing nature of reaching this exact milestone.
Now, here's a kind of surprising truth for you. Financial experts pretty much universally agree that the jump from absolute zero to $10,000, it's actually far harder and honestly feels way bigger than the jump from 10 to 50,000. I know, it sounds totally counterintuitive, right? But it's true. Because that first 10 grand fundamentally shifts your behavior, your whole mindset, and the way you view money forever, rather than just upgrading your lifestyle.
Okay, let's dive into this. Why does this one specific milestone change absolutely everything? Why do financial experts and everyday savers alike say your first 10,000 is the hardest, but undeniably the most important? Well, to really understand this breakthrough, we first have to understand the painful reality of starting from absolute zero. Which brings us to part one, the survival mode trap. This is what it's really like when you're starting from scratch. Look, when you have zero savings, your whole relationship with money is just incredibly unstable. You're basically trapped in this exhausting loop of asking yourself, can I actually afford this? Or, man, what if something goes wrong? Literally every minor emergency triggers this intense stress. And let's be real, saving doesn't feel good at this stage. It feels like this giant, unrewarding sacrifice. You just feel completely stuck. It's exactly like pushing this massive, incredibly heavy rock up a steep hill. Your progress is agonizingly slow, and if you let go for even a second, boom, it rolls right back over you.
But if you just keep pushing that heavy rock, something almost magical happens. You reach the point of momentum. This is the exact moment where the literal physics of your finances begin to change. Hitting that $10,000 mark is when that rock finally crests the hill and starts rolling down the other side on its own. Suddenly, everything stops working against you, and it actually starts working for you.
And that leads us into part two, the 5 mindset shifts. Let's look at the actual psychological mechanics behind this milestone.
And this brilliantly illustrates how reducing financial stress just completely transforms your decision-making. It happens in 5 distinct ways. First up, you proved yourself it's actually possible. Before this, saving kind of felt like something only other people did. But now, you have this rock-solid belief that you can do it. Second, you gain real psychological security. 10 grand doesn't make you a millionaire, obviously, but it creates a serious buffer. A flat tire or a broken fridge, they're no longer total disasters, they're just minor inconveniences. Your stress plummets. Third, you shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of control. You're no longer just reacting to money, you're directing it. Fourth, your habits lock in. I mean, you didn't get here by accident, right? You built discipline, and now those habits are essentially on autopilot. And finally, number 5, your whole focus changes entirely. You stop asking, how do I save? And you start asking, how do I actually grow this?
Let's actually look at how this plays out over a lifetime by comparing 2 totally different paths. Think about person A on the left here. They never quite push through to that $10,000 mark. Because of that, they start and stop repeatedly. They always feel stuck, and they remain trapped in that stressful survival mode. Now look at person B on the right, who does reach the milestone. They build amazing consistency, they gain this massive surge of confidence, and they start thinking in years, not days. Now, at first glance, the difference between these two people might look really small, but over time, the compounding effect is just massive. Person B is literally playing a completely different game.
A super helpful way to visualize this is the concept of the flywheel. Building up your savings is exactly like trying to spin this giant, heavy iron wheel. At the very beginning, you're pushing with absolutely all your might, and it barely moves an inch. And hey, it's supposed to be heavy, but with every single consistent push, it gains a tiny bit of speed. That first $10,000, that is the exact moment the wheel finally starts spinning on its own momentum. Every push after that just gets easier, and your effort becomes vastly more effective. Which brings us to this absolutely crucial shift in the laws of time. See, before you have savings, time is kind of your enemy. The longer you go, the higher the chances are that some random emergency is going to strike, so time actually increases your risk. But after you hit that savings milestone, time suddenly becomes your best friend. Why? Because your money can now earn, compound, and multiply. Time completely stops being a threat to your stability, and instead it starts acting as a powerful accelerator for your wealth.
Moving right along to part 3, the identity shift. This is all about discovering a brand new sense of self.
I want you to just take a second and really let this sink in. You are no longer someone who tries to save. You are someone who does save. That is huge. This milestone represents real delayed gratification. It proves you have control over your impulses, and, identity drives pretty much everything we do. Once you start genuinely seeing yourself as a saver, your decisions naturally start to align with that identity. You completely stop chasing those quick wins. You understand that small, consistent progress actually works, and that realization naturally protects you from all those risky get-rich-quick traps and emotional spending sprees.
All right, let's get practical with part 4, the action plan. How do we actually get this rock moving? So the crucial point here is implementing these 5 exact steps. Step 1, you've got to stop obsessing over that $10,000 number itself and instead focus purely on consistency. Step 2, automate your savings. Just remove your own decision-making entirely so the saving happens automatically before the spending even can. Step 3, track your progress, no matter how tiny it seems. Step 4, gradually look for ways to increase your income because obviously earning more is going to accelerate this whole process. And finally, step 5, be patient with the slow phase. Remind yourself every single day that this difficult beginning is perfectly normal. It's really just the required price of admission for that momentum.
You always have to remember that big, intimidating numbers are built exclusively from incredibly small, honestly kind of boring actions. There are no fireworks here, just a whole lot of auto transfers. But tracking your progress, even when it literally feels like a mere drop in the bucket, well, that creates the exact motivation you need to survive that early, gritty struggle.
I really want to leave you with a profound realization today. Most people don't actually fail at saving, they just quit right before it starts working. Please, whatever you do, don't quit in the middle of your journey. If it feels slow or if it feels incredibly small right now, just keep pushing that flywheel. You aren't just hoarding pennies, you are building the exact momentum that is going to change your life. Which brings us to our final question for you today. Are you ready to stop letting money control you and finally build your momentum? Look, the moment you cross that 5-digit line, nothing changes overnight on the outside, but absolutely everything changes internally. Your stress vanishes, your confidence soars, and your future quietly transforms. So keep pushing that rock. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you on the other side of your breakthrough.